So far on my Growing Big show, what I've done is I've talked an awful lot about hinge cutting. And the reason's simple. It's a relatively, in the habitat world, it's one of the few relatively new techniques. I'm afraid, though, that by talking about it so darn much, that I've given a faulty perspective on this type of stuff. Logging. That is my go-to tool. That's my machete. Okay. Hinge cutting is my scalpel. Oftentimes, I'll go ahead on a property I manage, oftentimes I'll log 50 to 80% of it at one time. Now, I'm talking about a select cut where we're not high grading the woods, we're improving timber health by doing it, opening up the canopy and getting all sorts of new growth, leave the tops lay, that'll go ahead and provide us some cover for a while, until the new growth starts to come in. Hinge cutting on the other side, as I said, that's my scalpel. At most, of all the grounds I've managed, and it's been somewhere over 30, I have never hinge cut more than 5% of the ground. I doubt I've even hinge cut 5% of the timber. As I said, hinge cutting to me is a scalpel. Do a little 5-yard band around a food plot, awesome. All of a sudden we've jacked the browse levels up, we've cut the sight line. If that buck wants to see what's inside that food plot, you know what, or farm field, any opening, he has to stick his head out, giving us a chance. Going ahead and creating little pockets of bedding here and there. Short blockades, hinge cut blockades, those types of things. Heck yes, hinge cutting is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Just remember though, hinge cutting is also the most dangerous way of dropping a tree. What you do is you cut through the backside with the tree leaning on big trees. Cut through the backside so that the tree falls and maintains that connection to the root system. The risk of kickouts on large trees are very, very serious. As I said, this is the most dangerous way to drop a tree I'm aware of. So what I'm going to strongly suggest, stick to trees no bigger than this for hinge cutting. You stick to trees no bigger than this. If the thing falls, big deal. Can it still kick out? Sure it can. But you know what? You can go ahead and stand off to the side. But on a tree like this, what I do is I don't wait for it to fall. Instead, if it's this big or smaller, I cut, anywhere from 40 to 60% of the way through, grab that tree and pull it down. That tree falls on me, big deal. Worst case, I get a little bit of a bruise. Okay. Remember that for hinge cut trees to survive, it's that connection to the root system. The bark specifically. Through the bark goes the food, goes the water between the leaves and the roots. So the more of that connective tissue you can leave, the more bark you can leave in place, the less you can cut through that tree to be able to bend it down, the higher the survival rates. But I cannot stress this enough. Me personally, hinge cutting is my scalpel. It's for very specific tasks. Logging, what I really rely on for keeping our renewable resources, which happen to be trees in this case, in a nice healthy state and continue that cycle going. One oak dies, I've got another oak coming up to replace it. Take that approach and it works very well for me. Because hinge cutting is a relatively new technique, I have spent way more time focused on how I use hinge cutting in my shows than I really do when I'm out in the woods managing. It's just an educational thing. Logging is my machete, hinge cutting is my scalpel. Stick to trees, no bigger than this, cut them just far enough so you can grab them, pull them over, your survival rates will be higher, and you massively, massively reduce the risk. But as always follow all chainsaw safety rules at all times when working with a chainsaw. This is absolutely no exception. Be safe out there.